Today we're going to take a very brief look into minor scale theory. I'm teaching this from a cellist's perspective, but it's the same across all the instruments. However, if you're a cellist, or another string player for that matter, I will be giving a few cues on how this may feel to play. There are three main types of minor scales: natural, melodic, and harmonic. The reasons for this are many and scattered through history. It's mostly to do with how the composer wanted the music to sound and the theory involved in those choices. I'm not going into very much depth here, but if you want to learn more about this, the School of Composition has a wonderful detailed explanation on their website. The link to their site is in the description below. For now, let's just get into the details. The natural minor scale follows the scale's normal key signature with no changes. In this example, the key is A minor, which has a key signature of no sharps and no flats, meaning that the notes are all natural. Minor scales have a different arrangement of whole and half steps than do major scales. Specifically, the third of the scale will immediately determine whether a scale is major or minor. It's this half step instead of the whole step between the second and third notes of the scale that makes the minor sound. The natural minor scale has this order of whole versus half steps: whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. And it is the same for the way down. Well, in reverse. This means that our finger pattern will be different in the beginning of our minor scale than the major scale. For the major scale, we start with an open hand frame to achieve our two whole steps, whereas in the minor scale, we do not need to extend, so we'll start with a closed hand frame. Now let's hear what the A natural minor scale sounds like. To me, it sounds somehow unresolved because the leading tone of the scale resolves to the tonic using a whole step instead of the normal half step that gives us that strong pull to the tonic. Listen for the low third note of the scale, both ascending and descending. Let's continue by assigning each note of our scale a number in addition to their letter name. There are 7 unique notes in a 1-octave major or minor scale. Number 8 is the octave above the note you started. This will be the same note name as the one that you started on. For example, A is both 1 and 8 in our scale, depending on where you're going with it. The counting starts over for subsequent octaves, but start over at 1 when you get to A each time, otherwise your interval or scale degree numbers will be off. Now that we've added those scale degree numbers, we can get on with discussing the next 2 minor scales. The melodic minor scale raises the 6th and 7th degree of the ascending part of the scale only. For A melodic minor, this means that we will play F sharp instead of F natural and G sharp instead of G natural, but only on the way up. On the descending scale, those F sharps and G sharps return to natural. As far as playing this on the cello goes, this means that you may need to have an open or extended hand frame to get those larger whole steps, and then make the adjustment at some point to go back to the closed hand frame to change the descending notes accordingly. Obviously, this depends on the fingering you choose, so just make sure you're playing the correct notes instead of depending solely on the hand frame. If you have not already realized it, changing these notes will change our order of whole and half steps. Here is what the A melodic minor scale sounds like. Notice the difference from the natural minor as we get to the 6th and 7th scale degrees. Again, the ascending part of the scale after we play the 3rd sounds a bit major to me. On our descending scale, we basically will play a natural minor scale. interesting sounding scale, in my opinion, is the harmonic minor scale. For this scale, we will raise the 7th degree of the scale only and leave it raised for both ascending and descending. For the A harmonic minor, that means that we will play G sharp instead of G natural for the entirety of the scale. Our finger pattern for this particular scale on the cello is a bit interesting because we have the augmented 2nd interval between the low 6th and the raised 7th scale degrees. An augmented interval is taking a major or a perfect interval and widening the space between the two notes by 1/2 step. So in our A harmonic minor scale example, we see that we will be going from F natural to G sharp, which is a total of 3 half steps, as opposed to the 2 half steps for a normal major second. I may do another video in the future about intervals specifically, so stay tuned. We could handle this augmented 2nd interval spacing by using finger 1 to finger 4, extension between fingers 2 and 4, a shift from 6th degree to 7th degree, or any combination of those 3 options. This is definitely an interval that we aren't typically used to playing a lot other than in its scale form. In addition to feeling interesting to play, this scale sounds interesting. I like to describe this as the snake charmer scale, something that you'd see in an old Looney Tunes cartoon. Take a listen and see what you think when you get to that raised 7th degree. Be sure to check out the School of Composition website to learn more about these scales. They have a lot of interesting information that I just wasn't able to cover in this short video. If you're looking to practice scales with me, check out the other videos on our channel. If the scale you're looking for isn't already there, it will be soon. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, please hit the like button so that you can see more of these types of videos. While you're at it, subscribe to my channel to see more videos about scales or other cello education type things. Thanks for watching. Happy practicing.